Hi, it's Maija here, and today I thought I'd talk about my most anticipated 2019 releases. Now, I'm not very good at staying on track of new releases, but these are the ones that I found and that sounded interesting to me. In January 2019, Dragon Pearl by Yoon comes out, and this is a middle grade space opera from the author of the adult military science fiction series, The Machineries of Empire. The first book was Nine Fox Gambit, and I really like those books. And I'm very interested to see how Lee does middle grade. The main character of Dragon Pearl is Min, who is 13 years old, and she's a fox spirit, but her mother insists that she will always stay in human form. And Min's brother is off fighting the space forces, and she would really like to leave her planet behind and follow him. But then they get the news that his brother has left his post in order to go and find this mystical dragon pearl, and Min can't believe this, so she runs away to go and try to clear his brother's name. In February we get The Raven Tower by Leckie, and this is Leckie's first fantasy book. She has written science fiction before, namely the Imperial Raj trilogy, the first book being Ancillary Justice, which I really loved. And I am so excited to pick up her fantasy book because I tend to prefer fantasy over science fiction, but I have no idea how Leckie could top the Ancillary Justice books for me, so I guess we'll see. There's very little information around about this book, so I guess I am excited to dive in almost blind. Likewise, in February we'll get Thornbound by Stephanie Burgis, and this is the second book in the Harwood Spellbook series. And I do own the first book, but I haven't read that one yet, so this one comes with a caveat that I will have to have liked the first book in order to be excited about this one. But it does sound like straight up my alley. This book continues the story of England's first woman magician, Cassandra Harwood, and the description says, Cassandra Harwood scandalizes the nation once again with a shockingly radical new endeavor, battles political and magical enemies, and attempts to prove that love and work can coexist, even when fey magic and human malice tangle up the path. These sound like so much fun. Moving on to March, when we will get Zen Cho's new Sorcerer Royal book, The True Queen, and this is a follow-up to The Sorcerer to the Crown, which I liked, even though I preferred her novella The Terracotta Bride. But I'm still very excited for this book, and I'm always excited for more Regency fantasy. This book follows different main characters from the first one. In this, the main characters are Muna and Sakti, and they are sisters, and they are cursed by an unknown enchanter, and Sakti starts to slowly fade away. In hopes of saving her sister, Muna has to travel to distant Britain, where the Sorceress Royal has established an academy to train women in magic. In June we will get another Yoon book, and this is Hex Arkad Stories, and this collects together short stories from the same world as Nine Fox Gambit. Moving on to August, we will get one of my most anticipated releases of the year. It just sounds so amazing, and that is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. And this is set in the Roaring Twenties, where the Mayan god of death sends a young woman on a harrowing, life-changing journey in this dark fairy tale inspired by Mexican folklore. Like, yes. Also in August comes out Escaping Exodus by Nicky Drayden, and I enjoyed Drayden's debut novel of Prey of Gods, and I have her second book Temper here to read. Escaping Exodus is the story of Seske Kali, who is the heir to the command of a biological, city-sized starship carved up from the insides of a spacefaring beast. Her clan is just working on their latest ship in a cycle they have continued for centuries. Excavate a new beast, expand to its barely living carcass, extinguish its resources over the course of a decade, then escape in a highly coordinated exodus back into stasis until they cull the next beast from the diminishing herd. This time, of course, things go wrong, and this sounds wild, and yep, also very much like social commentary, so I'm excited to see how Nicky Drayden does this. The next one on my list is very tentative because I haven't read anything from this author before, and that is When We Were Magic by Sarah Gailey, and this is a young adult fantasy book. And the description goes, a group of high school girls face up to the consequences of a disastrous magical accident resulting in a dead boy on prom night. Gailey has written the River of Teeth adult novella series for Tor, and those are about like alternate history about hippos in America, but I wasn't sure if I was interested in that. It's like on my maybe TBR. It just doesn't sound like my kind of thing, but this new one sounds super interesting, so I guess I'll wait and see when it comes out what people say about it. There's not a release date announced for this, it's just sometime in 2019. Then the final one would be my most anticipated book if I was certain that it came out this year. That is The Twisted Ones by Ursula Vernon, writing under the name T. Kingfisher. But I think when it was announced that this book was bought, the original announcement said that it would be a late 2020 release. So I'm just putting it at the end here because I've heard or seen 2019 somewhere, but the original announcement said 2020, so I'm not certain. But this is a horror novel from Vernon, and this is the description on Goodreads. A young woman cleaning out her deceased grandmother's home in rural North Carolina discovers that not only was her grandmother a hoarder of the first degree, she also hid secrets about a strange colony in the woods. I just read everything Vernon writes for adults. She's the best. So those were my most anticipated 2019 releases. Do you know of a book that comes out next year that you think that I would like? If so, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in my next video.